Hello, this is Jolie with Crochet Basics, and in this episode I'm going to show you how to make a chick hat. Now this is for a kid, child size chick hat. You can adjust it if you like to make it a grown-up chick hat, I guess. It's spring. This is like a winter to spring hat, more or less. You know, the seasons are changing. You want a little, cap on your kid or what have you. And spring is coming, chicks are, spring-like or whatever, so I thought this would be a cute one to get me back on my game of doing the videos and the patterns and stuff or whatever. Anyway, what you need is acrylic yarn, yellow, light yellow, more or less. I have two different ones in front of me. I'm going to be working in butter. We're going to do this in an H. So, a scrap yarn in a contrasting color, blue, black, purple, whatever, any color other than yellow, or white really, because the white kind of blends in also. So a scrap piece of yarn. As a stitch marker, you need a couple of regular stitch markers for when we do the bill, the brim, beak, what have you. A small amount of eye color, a yarn needle. Yarn needle for this one for sewing on the eyes. If you want to do your eyes with buttons, that's fine. Then you need buttons and needle and thread for that. And I think that's about it. Alright, so let's start. Let's get this going. Now if you do a slip knot, I wasn't taught that way, so I don't do that. I do a little crossover on my hook. That's me, not you. Do your slip knot, that's fine. You're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and in that second chain from the hook, the one furthest from the hook, you're going to do 10 single crochets, and you'll work around your tail, and that'll close up that loop, and it'll save in on weaving and all that good stuff. Alright, so 10 single crochets for row 1. And you'll pull that tail tight and it'll close up that loop, that first loop. Yarn is sticking to my hands. Alright, so now right in between there we're just going to add our scrap yarn. No muss, no fuss. And the scrap yarn is a stitch marker. It marks your rows. So it marks, so you'll see where the beginning of the row is and, where your end of the row is. Alright, so you're going to skip over that chain, and in the first one, the first single crochet that you did, you're going to do 2 half double crochets, and you're going to work 2 half double crochets all the way around for row 2, and you should end up with 20, hopefully. So that's my 20, and I'm going to move my scrap yarn to the front so that I can keep my stitches. Alright, row 3 is another increase, so you're going to do 2 half double crochets in the first and then 1 in the next, and you'll work that increase all the way around, and you should end up with 30 stitches for row 3. Now for row 4 we're going to increase again, so make sure you're moving your scrap yarn. I really don't like the balls of yarn. They drive me nuts. This one's flying all over the place, but I had made the hat and I ended up pulling it out. So that's why I'm unraveling a ball instead of a regular skein for this particular one. Alright, so you'll move your scrap yarn, and then we're going to work 2 in the first and 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, and then 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and you'll repeat the increase for the row, for row 4, and you should end up with 40 stitches, of course, because we're increasing by 10 each increase. So now for row 5, we're not increasing. For row 5, 1 half double crochet in each stitch all the way around. And a side note, a tip, trick, you know, if you've seen any of my videos, I always try and give you tips and tricks and stuff, you know. Just let you know, little things I've picked up along the way since I started crocheting and stuff like that. So if your scrap yarn is coming in on an angle, so if it's this way, you're adding too many stitches, and if it's this way towards the right, then you're dropping too many stitches. It should always be a straight line, and that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're increasing, decreasing, if it's an amigurumi, which is a stuffed animal, a plushie, or what have you, a doll, whatever it is, a table, skirt, whatever, placemat, your scrap yarn should always be going straight. And if it's a little off, you can always figure out what it is you're doing, whether you're shy on stitches or you're adding stitches. But just so you know, this scrap yarn should always be your stitch marker. When you're working in the round, it should always be straight, starting in the, the bottom straight up. Well, now you know, in case you didn't know. Not everybody's used to working with a scrap yarn as a stitch marker. So, So now for row 5, we're not increasing. We're just doing 1 half double crochet all the way around, and then you'll follow your, your scrap yarn, and you should still have 40 stitches. And we'll move our scrap yarn. Now for row 6, we're going to increase again. So it should be more or less a little curved, but really like a flatter piece because of all the increases. It should be, kind of spreading out, and just a tiny little bit curved at this point. All right, but for row 6 is what we are on. All right, for row 6, you'll do 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, and then 1 half double crochet in the next 3 stitches, and you'll repeat that increase all the way around. So I hope you're with me on it. If you're new, it's a little, you always have to practice, I guess, fiddle around, make really like pay attention to the pattern and stuff sometimes, when you're newer to crochet, and it takes a little practice. You're not gonna get it right away. I didn't get crochet right away. I could make you a scarf, more or less, a crooked scarf. So, all right, so 2 in the first, 1 in the next 3, 1 half double crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then another increase, and we'll work this all the way around for row 6, and you should end up with 50 stitches. So that's 50 stitches for row 6. So now for row 7, we'll do another increase, and hopefully your scrap yarn is going straight and you're not having a problem with that. So we're up to row 7, correct? Sorry, I'm losing count because this yarn ball is like making me nuts. Alright, let's see, what do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so now for row 7, we're going to increase again. We're going to get up to 60 stitches here. So you'll do 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, and then 1/2 double crochet in the next 4 stitches, and you'll repeat that all the way around for row 7, and you should end up with 60 stitches for row 7. Alright, so I have 60 for row 7 here. So now, what I told you before about this, your starting tail, is pull that nice and tight. If you worked around your chain, pull it nice and tight, make a little loop and a knot. As tight as you can get that knot. And I've never seen it come out. I use this knot, this little technique, I use it on hats, amigurumis, doll hats. Anytime I'm working like with a round in the circle, I work around the tail and I always make a little knot. And I've never seen it come out. Not that it can't come out or whatever, you know, acts of God or whatever, you know. But I've never seen it come out as far as I'm concerned, as long as you worked around it. And you can snip that off and get it out of your way. You're done with that. You don't have to worry about that. Alright, little knot and it'll blend in. No worries. Alright, for row 8, we're going to do 1/2 double crochet all the way around, and you'll, you know, follow your scrap yarn and you'll still have 60 because that's how we roll. Alright, so 1/2 double crochet all the way around for row 8. And, oh, I already said follow your stitch marker. Okay. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. If you do make the hat, you know, give me a thumbs up for the pattern and stuff, and questions, comments below and stuff like that. I always try and get back to you. Not that my YouTube always shows me the comments. Sometimes I don't see the comments for a while, which is weird because I check my YouTube almost every day. So, you know, weirdness happens. And you can always message me or, you know, post onto my Facebook fan page. Same name as the channel pretty much, Jolie, LLC, you know. And if you have questions about the pattern and stuff like that. Or, you know, other patterns I have posted and things like that. Because I don't want you to feel like I'm leaving you lonely. And if you need help with reading patterns and stuff like that in my older YouTube videos, I do give you help with that. I give you tips and tricks and stuff with the amigurumis, and that's the plushies, and other stuff like that, you know. But it's been a while. I haven't made one of these. I haven't been able to post one of these videos. I keep saying like I haven't made one of these videos, but that's not true because this is the 3rd time I'm making this specific video. So hopefully this one will work out. That I get up there, you know, because I like making these videos. I like making the patterns and showing you how to make them and put the stuff together and things, you know. All the wacky things that pop into my head to make. Makes me happy to share and, you know, give people tips and tricks and stuff like that, you know. Especially when, you know, I love crochet. I've been doing it for a really long time now, and it makes me happy to share technique and different tips and things I've learned along the way of my crochet journey. I know, I'm a little nutty. It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. Shh, don't tell nobody I'm up this late. Probably be up till at least 4 in the morning, but whatever, that's life. Alright, so that was row 8, and we didn't do an increase. And just to give a measurement, if I have my ruler, which don't judge me, this is the last one standing. I keep going through these rulers. They don't seem to last for me, but I love them. I love these little retractable suckers. They make me so happy, and I stick them in my pocket and go, or whatever it is. Alright, so at this point we're about a little over 3 inches from the very center of the hat out. And not that you could see it because my ruler is very worn out. Alright, so now for this next row, for row 9, we're going to do an increase, but not as we've been, not as evenly distributed. Good answer there. Good wording. What you're going to do is you're going to do 1/2 double crochet in the first 10 stitches and then 2 in the next. And you're going to repeat that all the way around. And what's going to happen is you're going to get to stitch 60, and when you get to stitch 60, you should have five half double crochet, 5 stitches left over. So you'll do 1 half double crochet in the last 5 stitches, because we're only for row 9 we're increasing only by 5 stitches, not by 10. At this point, after row 9, at this point, you should have a little dome, okay, a small dome. It shouldn't be, you know, too tight or what have you, but, you know, the start of say, a wide bowl, okay? So from row 10, wait, yeah, sorry, I'm checking my pattern here. So from row 10 to row 16 feels wrong. From row 10 to row 16, 1 half double crochet. When you get to row 16, you're going to mark off from stitch 20 to stitch 40. Okay, so across the row, you'll work 1 half double crochet, and you'll be marking off your row 16. And you could pause now and work it, or come back later, blah, blah, blah. All right, and I will be back in a moment, and we'll continue on. All right, so now I'm at, I'm not done. I'm at row 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm working on row 14. All right, but I'm running shy of yarn here, so I just wanted to pop back in case you are a newbie or what have you, and with adding in more yarn, you know, when you run out, or like a color change, something like that. I figured I would just show you, you know, because more or less because I haven't done one of these videos in so long, and I do love the tips and tricks and stuff like that. I always try to be, you know, as helpful as possible. So what you can do, if you're going to add in, if you're going to do a color change, you would do it at, you know, the end of the row, whatever. But this is just, I had cut off too soon, and the last time I made the hat, so now I'm remaking the hat, and you know, all that wonderful stuff. Alright, so what you would do for half double crochet, just to add in, leave yourself a good amount, you know, a tail, or what have you, wrap to put in, and instead of pulling up your wrapped, you would pull in the new color, the new yarn, and that's if you were doing a color change, or, you know, you ran out. So it's always better to do it, you know, just at the base of the stitches, so that you can just pull everything tight and move on. And with this, I would crochet around, because it's in the back of where the hat is, of the seam. I would just work around it, and make sure you're working your new yarn and all that good stuff. But just to show you, you know, I still have to work the rest of this row and another 2 rows, because this is row 14, so I still have to work another 2 rows on this. But just wanted to pop in and show you where I'm at this point. And then just crochet around your loose, you know, at least one of your loose tails, you know, and that always saves in on the weaving and stuff like that, because you're already halfway up in there, you know. It's already through a bunch of your stitches, and you know, you've worked around it and all that kind of stuff. Alright, so this is my row 16, so I'm going to mark off my stitches here. Now, what I want you to do, which this is going to sound silly, but if you've ever used scrap yarn as a stitch marker and just worked in the round without a slip stitch and a chain and what happens is it looks uneven when you finish your last row. It just does. No matter how many how even it should be, you know, without the slip stitch and the chain and the you know, it'll look uneven, even if it's just to you, and you're your worst critic and papa, you know, no one's coming up behind you and saying like, oh, so you're so uneven, oh my gosh, you know, you ended your row crooked or whatever. All right, so for your last, you know, stitch or your last couple of stitches, switch to a single crochet. And from here, that would have been my last stitch. All right, so a few single crochets and then a few slip stitches just to pull you over to the other side and even it out some. Okay, so just, you know, just to even it out more than it would be, because, you know, it's without the slip stitch and the chain or whatever, it just makes it just a tiny bit uneven, and some people get neurotic about it, is what I'm gonna say. Some people get a little worked up about it. All right, so just to get you over, and if you see, it does look more even. You know, it looks smoother, a smoother transition for ending the row. And that goes with, you know, any where you're using the scrap yarn where the seam is going to be seen, if that makes sense. You know, I mean, if it's an amigurumi, you know, a ball or a head or something like that or whatever, you're going to finish it off, pull and da-da-da. You know, it's not going to show as much or any kind of thing, or it's not going to show at all. But on a hat, it will. On a, if you made, like, say, a basket or a basket, a pocketbook, it'll show. And you're your worst critic. It just makes it a smoother transition when you do that. When you pull it over in a slip, or, you know, a few single crochets and then a slip. All right, so from here we're gonna attach. So what you can do, if you like, you can cut off and, you know, leave it there. Okay, let's see what I'm gonna do. All right, I'm gonna cut off here. And you can weave in, or, you know, if you want to go further along, if you feel you're more uneven, then you can, you know, pull out a few stitches further back and switch to a single crochet. You know, I want you to be happy with your piece, you know, with the hat you're making and stuff, of course. I don't want you to, if you feel it's too uneven, you know. But I also know only another expert or whatever will, you know, they'll think it, but maybe not think to offend you by saying like, oh, your seam is all off. You know, because I've seen some seams, and I would never ever say, hey, your seam is all cuckoo, you know. I would just think in my head, girl, you missed a stitch or some kind of something. But that's me, and I try to be nice and all that kind of thing. Well, I don't try. I am nice. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm nice. I do my best. Alright, if you want to give a nice little measurement at this point, we're about 6 inches. Well, we're a little over 6 inches. Okay, we're a little over 6 inches. Good stuff. Now, we are going to go back in to here. So, but you'll slip stitch, so no worries on that, I guess. So what you could do with your tail, if you like, you can weave it in, or you can leave it loose for now and then just weave in at the end. I do not like weaving in. That is one thing I truly am not happy about with crochet. I despise weaving in. It is the most annoying thing to me. It is. I wish, I don't know. I wish I could just, light a match and singe it and boom, it's done, you know? Because weaving in is like, ugh. Alright, so this is what we look like so far. And this seam is going to be a little bit off. Don't worry, I mean, like as far as placement of the bill, the seam is going to be a little to the side, but don't worry about it. As long as you did the little tip I just told you to do, or when you start, you know, when we do, we're going to do one more row, two more rows. It's really 2, just saying. But when we do that, it'll even out. it won't be a thing. But it could just be one more row. Sometimes I'm unhappy with my pattern and I think, you know, let me fix this up and slip in another row. And then sometimes I'm like, we're good. All right, hat, front of the hat facing you. All right, and you're going to go in on this is a back loop only. So you see the side of the braid that is furthest away from you. So there's two sides of the braid. This side is away from you, and the side closest to you would be the front loop. All right, that would be the front loop. But we're going in the back loops, and you'll attach. Where's my yarn? Okay, and you'll attach. I'm using the same color for the full hat, for the beak or bill, whatever you want to call it. I'm using the same color yarn, which is butter. It's butter, which it's butter. All right, nice yummy yellow color for our little chick hat. All right, so you'll attach. We're gonna chain 2, and you're gonna move to the next stitch. That chain is going to count as a stitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to double crochet in each stitch across the row. In the back loops only, the side of the braid furthest away from you. Okay, when you get to the center stitch, you're, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so when you get to 11, do 2 double crochets in that one stitch. And I'm having a problem here. There we go. And then 1 in each remaining stitch. So you should end up with 21 stitches, I think it should be. So I got 21, and then if I hit where my last stitch marker is, I have 22. So 22 stitches with 1 increase. So now for row 2, you're gonna double crochet your first 2 stitches together. All right. So we're gonna drop. Okay, so your first 2 together, you have your chain, and then your first 2 together. And then 1 in each. So then you'll do 2 double crochets in your 10th stitch, and then your 11th stitch. And then work the rest, and then you're going to drop at the end of the row. Alright, and then I'm at my end, so I'm going to double crochet those together. Wait, what did I just do there? I think I'm still half double crocheting from the previous. Alright, you're going to double crochet your last 2 stitches together, chain 2, and turn your work. So for row 3, we're going to do the same thing we just did. We're going to crochet the first 2 together, the first 2 stitches together, and then work down the row. And we're not going to increase, but we are going to drop the last 2 stitches at the end of the row. Alright, and then your last 2 you'll crochet together. Two togs on this row. Okay, so what the increase does in the center is it loosens it up so that the bill, the beak, brim, whatever you want to call it, is more pliable. It loosens it up. So if you want to push it up and not have it, you know, angled down, it's easier when you put the increases. So just in case you were like, why are you increasing? Okay, here is the first. No, I'm sorry. This is not the first. This is the third one. And I forgot the increases. And with forgetting the increases, instead of the bill being able to be folded straight up, you know, and give it some flexibility as far as where, you know, how you're going to wear it, I forgot to put the increases in. And with that, it comes straight over the eyes, and it's, you know, it's not as pliable. It's not as pliable. It's more firm. It is 2 layers, like the one we're making. It is 2 layers. We're going to make the second layer now. So, you know, but I didn't add the increases in. I plumb did forgot. So that's what happens when you forget. The brim doesn't, it just covers your eyes. Okay, with that, because I do like to give you the tips, tricks, and all that good stuff. Alright, so with this you're going to cut off. I mean, it's a small brim, you know, as far as length, you know, protruding from your noggin or your child's noggin or whatever. Alright, so what you're going to do is knot off, and in the, see this ridge here, from working the back loops, now we have this ridge here, which is the other side of the braid. So we're going to go in and work that. And I guess you can work it with it facing you. I guess I should make it that you work, right? Because I don't want to confuse you, like you're going to go back in and I'm going to put work back loops only, and you're going to be like, we already worked the back loops. You make no sense. Yes, I know. I make no sense. Alright, but sorry. It's about 2:40 in the morning here, which is not a really big deal because the past 2 times I've made this video, I have stayed up until after 3. So, not a big deal, but I only got about 90 minutes left on my camera here to work this. So what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing we just did. Alright, back to the pattern, back to the pattern. Alright, what you're going to do for this front is you're going to do the same thing we just did. Exactly the same, only you're working the front ridge, this ridge. Okay, so we said it was 1 row. We increased that stitch 11. It'll be on the screen. I always put it on the screen. My camera's dying. Alright, I always put it on the screen anyway. So you work that, okay? I'm not going to show you because I just showed you. You can actually rewind, pause it, and go back and just work the front the same way we just worked this, with the increases and the decreases on the ends. And I will be back in a moment and I'll show you how we're going to cinch, you know, seal it all up and do all of that. So I hope you're still with me. I hope you're able to follow my kookiness. I'm a little out of sorts not doing one of these videos in a while. Okay, so I just finished my second part, the second part of the bill, crocheting in the front loops only. So I cut off already, and just beforehand, whatever, just so, you know, make sure it lines up. Make sure, you know, your pieces line up nice and even beforehand. And with the tails, you know, weave them in here and there. What I normally do with something like this, where the tails are going to be sandwiched in between, or like an amigurumi or whatever, I weave it in one way a little bit, back a little bit, and then, you know, if they're going to be sandwiched in, as long as you make a tiny little knot and you wove it in and whatever, you know, through a few stitches and stuff like that, you're usually okay. I don't normally see them come out or any kind of thing, but there's always a chance. So, you know, however you weave in, however you're comfortable, you know, getting rid of your excess. You know, I try to, what they tell you, the experts other than I, the better experts than me. I mean, I don't consider myself an expert. I can read patterns and write patterns and such, but, you know, I just, once you consider yourself an expert, I think you get a little swelled head or some kind of thing, and there's somebody new to knock you off your pedestal kind of a thing. So I don't ever consider myself an expert, even though I've been crocheting well over, you know, 20 years, and I make my own patterns and such. But that's just me, you know. I'm sure anybody that's, I crocheted a hat, I'm an expert, look at me, you know. There's people like that out there, which God bless them, you know. It's nice to have a wonderful confidence like that, I think, to not second guess yourself, I think, right? I think that would be nice, to not second guess myself. Would be really nice. Anywho, so with the tails, I'm just going to sandwich them in. What you're going to do from here is, it's after 3 in the morning, yet again. We're going to attach our yarn, and we're going to close up this beak, or bill, or whatever you want to call it. And then we'll work the eyes. If you want to do button eyes, or you know, the felt sheets and stuff where you cut it and sew it, that's great too. That's, you know, I like to give you the choices. I don't want you to feel like, ooh, you know, confined or any kind of thing. I like when people are creative and, you know, you make it your own. You know, I'm showing you the base of this, you know, but you make it your own. You know, you make it how you want it to look and stuff like that, you know. I don't want you to feel confined, you know, because I think that takes the imagination out of it when you say it's got to be this way, or it's, you know, it's got to be set this way and done this way. I don't like that, you know. All right, so this is what we got. And my back tails are still hanging around. And I do apologize, this tabletop tripod is so annoying. But I got this video, get this one posted, and get my duff to the store or to the computer and buy myself a new tripod, a floor tripod, so that you're seeing more than just my hands, you know. You can see more of the project and all of that, because this is annoying. I don't realize how annoying this is. I'm a little too honest, I guess. Alright, what you're going to do is you're going to attach in your yellow, you know, a few stitches before, 2 or 3 stitches before your beak. It will do you just fine. And we're going to seal up this beak with a single crochet. Our last row on this is a single crochet all the way around, including sealing up the beak. So this would be row 17. Check the pattern. Yeah, so this would be row 17. So you'll attach wherever you're going to attach, because that's how we do. And there we go. Alright, and you'll just work 1 single crochet on these corners, on the edges. You'll try not to add too many stitches, try not to drop too many stitches. You want it to be as smooth as possible. And so say it's it's 2 double crochets and there's 2 chains, whatever. So you want to pick up each chain so that it's nice and solid. At least two per, you know, row of double crochet. So just so that it's nice and solid. It's nice and sealed and solid and all that kind of thing, if that makes sense to you. On the corners you want to do, make sure you're picking up both sides. You're sealing this up. Okay, so make sure you pick up, on the corners you want to do at least 2 to 3 single crochets to close that up and to turn the corner. Okay, that's why, what's that called? Granny squares on the corner, they have all those extra stitches and you're like, why are all these extra stitches here? Well, the extra stitches are needed. Now you know. I told you, now you know. Alright, so make sure you go through and you're catching both sides of each braid, both sides of the front and both sides of the back on the braid, and everything lines up. And then here in your last one, where we're turning, make sure you repeat what you did here. So I did 3, so you should do 3. I mean, if you did 3, you should do 3 now. You don't want it to look all uneven. I'm trying to get you even as possible. You don't want to feel lopsided or look at your project and think, oh, that didn't work out, you know? Because I know I've done that before. I'm catching my... Okay. Alright, and then the same thing here. Make sure you're catching your back and your front. And you're going and you're pulling through all of it, you know? I mean, you could sew it if you like, but I know once you got the hook out, you're like, psh, pish posh on that yarn needle. Because I think that all the time. I'm like, I can get that through with my crochet hook. And then just one single crochet all the way around the back end until you get to where you attach, and then you'll just slip stitch. You'll slip stitch and pull a tail, cut off, weave in, ba ba ba. I'm a little out of practice. I hope you forgive me on this this one. I'm a little out of practice with making these videos. It's been a long time. Alright, if you want to use button eyes, go ahead, use your button eyes. You know, these eyes seem to be giving me a hard time, and I think it's because of the way I expect them to look. And, which happens, you know, you want things to look a certain way and stuff like that. So, if you want to crochet them, I'm going to show you how I crocheted mine. Alright, and you'll make 2, or what have you, you know. Alright, so in black... still with your H hook, you're going to, oh, if you do a slip knot, do that. I don't do that, so, you know, that's you. All right, chain 2, 1, 2. And in the second chain from the hook, you're going to do 3 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, then 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and another 3 half double crochets to finish that up. So from here, you'll pull that tight. And I'm sorry, I just had a fight with my light here. My light is it was pushing on the camera. It was throwing everything off. Alright, so from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip stitch, pull a tail, tie off, weave in. And I'm going to sew it on. What you can do is with the white yarn is make a little... I guess they attach there because there's a little knot there, and that's from the manufacturer. Alright, so from here, this is what this looks like, my little black dot. You don't have to do it, you can sew it on in black if you like. The starting tail that you worked around, you'll make a little knot just like we did the top of the hat. Okay, and you'll put your eyes on wherever however you want the placement. I think I'm going to go wider. This is a smaller version of the hat that I first made. And so just to, you know, this is not the hat that we just made, but this is another version of it. So, I mean, you can go wide if you like, you know, or close together, close to the brim, however you want. I'm going to sew mine on, and with a little bit of white, a little X or a little circle or something, you know, just a little life dot they call it. If you paint, they call it a life dot. I I don't know. That's what my sister tells me. She's Nikki Rose. She does repaints on YouTube. She shows you how to do repaints on dolls and stuff. Okay. And what was I going to say? Ooh, okay. Eyes aside, because the eyes, I'm overthinking this pattern and it's making me nutty now. And I despise when I get so worked up on a pattern where I want it to work out and look pretty and all that kind of thing, but it ends up making me nutty. All right. So what I was thinking with the hat itself, because it's supposed to be a chick, and you know they always draw, if you're my generation, you know who Huey, Dewey, and Louie are. If I got the names right from they're Donald's nephews. Anyway, they always show the little chicks or whatever, and they're ducks. This is not a duck hat. But they always show them with some loose feathers sticking out of place and stuff. And I thought, how cute to put a few feathers out of place, you know, so to speak. So with a little piece of scrap yarn, fold it over, okay, making a loop. You go underneath your stitches, underneath a stitch, come out the other side. Pull through, and then in that loop, you pull through. And that's actually how you do the hair for the amigurumi when you do that. And then trim it up. And you can brush it out and make it, you know. But I thought, how cute, you know, I don't know. This, to me, when I first thought of this, I thought spring is coming. When I first thought of this little chickie hat. I said, spring is coming. I'm going to do a rabbit or a bunny, you know, whatever. And I'm like, I'm not a bunny. I mean, I love the bunnies. Don't get me wrong. But I said, you know, how about something a little different, a little chickie or something, you know? Something different. So I said, you know, all right. And I thought, little chick hat. How about a little chick hat? How cute would that be? So, you know. And you could fill that in however you like, if you do that. If you do this little thing. This is how you put in, if you've seen, I've made some amigurumi patterns. And this is actually how you put in the hair. You go underneath the stitches and you fold over, go underneath, and kind of tie off. So, but I just thought how cute if it was a few little feathers out of place, so to speak, you know. And of course, you know, your choice, as always, not trying to twist your arm. Alright, but either way, however you do your eyes, you know, your choice. If you want to, you know, crochet something bigger or, you know, just do button eyes, you know, make it easy, I think. I think I'm overthinking my eyes. And I want them to look a specific way, and I think I'm making myself a little nutty, so I figure, you know what, maybe best to go easier, you know, an easier way than not let this pattern linger any longer. Alright, but I'll fill that in a bit more, and I'll brush it out so that it's fluffier, you know. I'll fill it in a little bit, just around the top, though, not really anywhere else, and then I'll put my eyes. Alright, so with that, you'll see what it looks like in finishing touches and all that, or, you know, the end of the video and the beginning of the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Leave a thumbs up if you make it, if you like it, whatever. You know I'm so kooky, right? I guess that's about it. I hope you like it. I haven't been able to complete one of these videos in a good while. I just, whatever, life happens and all that good stuff. As always, happy hooking, because it keeps you off the streets. It keeps you, you know, out of trouble and looking super cool to all your friends. And I will be back really soon. So, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Have a super duper great day. Bella Jolie, Crochet Basics. And I'll be back really soon. Hopefully, you know, fingers crossed this video comes out and all that good stuff. and I'll be back soon. Have a super great day.